Here's a tip that I want to share with you that I think eludes a lot of people when it comes to kind of getting back into training after a long time of being away from your sport. Maybe you've been career driven, you've been having a family, but you've been 10, 20 years away from running, being up at the track, out on the bike, etc. Or you've been injured and you've kind of gone through a spell of injury where you've obviously deconditioned, you've weakened in that area, and now you're trying to get back into things. The biggest misconception, the biggest thing that people do not realize is that they've lost the ability to produce and absorb force. Okay, so as we age, we are deconditioning, right? Our ligaments, tendons, literally our physiology is slowly declining, in the sense of that it takes longer to recover. We have to take more care into making sure our body is we're maintaining those kind of like good joint mobility, etc. As a result, if we have long spells away from consistent training, where we are consistently applying load, resistance, intensity, duration, endurance, whatever you want to call it, to your body is going to go backwards. Okay, you look at any body that is left in stasis, where it just doesn't do much, it atrophies, it weakens, it becomes flaccid. And this is what we've got to understand, is that people don't really fully appreciate that. And this is why there's this kind of disconnect where, okay, you've come back from injury. Can you produce force again? Can you jump, land? Can you absorb force again? Do you have good joint stability, good joint strength, good joint power? Do you have those qualities? If not, we need to be getting them back, because if you're trying to then build volume, intensity, whatever the sport is, on the bike, in the water, on the run, out on the hills, whatever it is, onto a flaccid, weak body, or areas of your body that are in this deconditioned state, it's so easy to overwhelm. It's so easy to compound those areas, those joints. And this is why we see such a high epidemic of people who are struggling with injuries through the lower limb, through the hip, knee, and below, because they're literally just overloading flaccid, weak, deconditioned joints or muscle groups. Re-establishing that ability to produce and absorb force. That is power, speed, agility, coordination, and all the things you're doing in this space, all the things that you're potentially doing up at the track, the running drills. Hopefully you're doing some stuff pre and post riding, bike sessions. Hopefully you're doing stuff to dry land work around your swimming. If not, then you're in danger of trying to build a house on sand. You don't have strong enough foundations to put more work into it. It's by far the biggest misconception. People will get balance back. They'll get some basic coordination back. They'll get some very baseline levels of body weight strength back. And then they'll go and put an absolute obscene amount of volume, intensity, load, resistance onto their body out on the trails, etc. And boom, their body becomes overloaded. Got to keep coming back to the why. We're trying to build a body that can tolerate those higher expectations of training down the line, whatever that is. Some of you have got very high, lofty goals. Bring it right back. What does my chassis, what can my chassis, my body tolerate right now? Do I have any obvious areas of weakness that I need to be working on? Does it have the ability to coordinate left versus right, upper body versus lower body, like posterior chain? Can it tolerate high power, high speed to a certain degree? Most people can't. This is why they're constantly stuck in this vicious cycle, because as soon as you take that lens and you start looking at a person up on the track, put some interval efforts into them. How well can they hold good form, good shape in the water, on the bike? Same thing. You'll see after a certain amount of time, their bodies start to break down on them, either in the session or post-session, where they start to pull up with symptoms. That is telling us that that they lack the ability to tolerate high force. Go back into, right, what does that mean? I need to then build more stability, more strength. I need to build more maximal strength. I then need to build more dynamic strength endurance, and then I can then start to build, you're building this pyramid towards more maximal power, more force application, more absorption. These are all things that just, no matter what it is you want to do, we are declining in age, we are losing these abilities. If we get injured, we've lost these abilities because we've injured that site. Bring those qualities back, and you will continue to be able to do the things that you want to do.